Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot. And we're going to talk about the weekly forecast for the twins for the week ahead. We do have a week full of all kinds of transits, a major 0-point transit every single day this week. And we also have the lunar full moon eclipse in Taurus. So it is set to be a week of clearing, of really shedding and purging everything that really is no longer going to be in alignment with us moving forward. So I think we really need to get grounded. This week is going to be intense, especially with all that Scorpio energy coming through. And then the opposite axis of that, Taurus, is all about home, heart, and hearth. Taurus is the Empress. She gives birth to life. So I do feel with the North Node preparing to shift into Taurus, this full moon eclipse really is going to illuminate that North Node in Taurus, and it's really going to highlight where we need to really do the deep dive and the dark work of transmuting all of these shadow energies. So today we do have the Sun square Jupiter as well as Venus square Chiron. Tuesday we have the Sun sextile Pluto. Wednesday, Mars opposition Uranus. Thursday, Mercury trine Neptune. Friday, on the 19th, prior to the full moon eclipse, we do have Venus trine Uranus. Then we have that full moon eclipse energy, and that full moon is also going to be opposition Mercury, square Jupiter, trine Pluto, and it will be conjunct the North Node. So it's going to be a huge week because the full moon is also going to be in the 8th house in Taurus at 13 degrees 09, which is about death, rebirth, closing out these cycles. It is about transformation and digging deep. And then Saturday, we have Mercury square Jupiter, and we close off the week on Sunday with a sextile between Mercury and Pluto, and the Sun enters Sag. So we are entering into Sagittarius season, which is all about self-fulfilling our own prophecy. Both of my daughters are Sagittariuses, so I'm excited for Sag season, of course. So let's go in depth when it comes to these energies, and I really hope my voice makes it through the whole message because I was pretty much voiceless most of the weekend. So I do feel throat chakra issues. I feel the masculine's throat chakra is deeply blocked for me to not be able to even do a YouTube video all weekend. That's a strong message. People need to speak their truth. Without a doubt. So let's talk about this aspect today because Venus square Chiron, Venus in Capricorn is that earthly energy. With Venus in the 4th house, also in Capricorn, it is about home, having that ideal home life. It is wanting that deep emotional connection within the home. And I do feel with Chiron in Aries in the 7th house, which is the descendant, the fall, also in Aries at 316, this is Tower energy. So it's really going to highlight relationships where we have been hurt over and over and over again. And these injuries can never, ever be completely cured. On the contrary, though, you know, they always reopen by triggers. So I do feel a lot of triggers have been coming up when it comes to that core wound, when it comes to that Chiron wound. And we cannot avoid going deep within these painful experiences. We have to feel in order to heal. So I think get prepared to deal with some difficulties today with Venus square Chiron, because this Venus energy is suggesting we need to connect the lesson. We need to learn the lesson stemming around love and money, because Chiron is that primal wound. And, you know, Chiron is how we become whole and heal ourselves and then step into being a healer and helping others to heal. So, you know, I'm very big on the Chiron aspects because that really is part of our purpose here. So with Chiron square Venus, typical features that this square is going to bring up today is about relationships, and it really is more about the relationship to yourself than it is with others. Because if you don't have healthy self-esteem, healthy self-worth, you're going to end up in repeated situations and relationships where your partner is going to provoke additional wounding because you haven't done the work internally. So with this square, it is hypersensitive energy, and it is going to create a lot of obstacles today, especially in the false connections, because we are craving love and intimacy, and there is going to be a tendency, I feel, with this square to try to avoid intimacy. And if you're not willing to be vulnerable, you're never going to have that deep, soulful connection with another human being. So you can never, ever avoid being vulnerable. You have to be willing to be open. So I think be prepared for people to come across as cold, distant, and unloving, especially if you're in a toxic karmic relationship. I do feel get ready to quickly put the brakes on those relationships. These Chiron aspects really is going to highlight those people that are high maintenance in your energy field. It's going to bring up a lot of demanding energy, and it really is going to trigger your self wounds at the core. So be willing to be open and vulnerable. That is truly key. And I feel most of us avoid vulnerability for fear of rejection. And no matter how much you give in a relationship, if you are feeling like it's never enough, rejection truly is here to teach you how to learn about love and relationships. And rejection truly is God's protection. So when we can apply this wisdom on a personal level, that's when we can overcome these challenges. So in order for you to have that deep connection, you first have to be willing to heal your deepest fears about not being good enough. You need to learn how to love yourself, because if you cannot love yourself, then you're only loving somebody else halfway. And that's not really fair to yourself or another. So, you know, the positive thing about this aspect is it is going to highlight just how emotionally sensitive you are as a person. And that truly is a gift, even though it hurts to be that sensitive person. The negative aspects, I do feel, you know, be prepared to be easily offended and hurt in the energies. And these problems are going to occur because you need to learn how to communicate. Communication is key, and comprehension is also key. If the person you're communicating with doesn't comprehend you, then good luck in that energy, because, you know, it really is about finding our inner joy. We do want that feeling to last forever. And I think, you know, our first reaction to pain is to avoid it, to ignore it, and to push it away and to repress it. And we can no longer embrace this form of resistance. It's kind of like spiritual bypassing. So, you know, when we cling too hard to wanting that joy, or we push away, or we ignore pain, we're basically inviting more suffering into our life. So, you know, it's all about becoming present within your body, within your mind, and within your heart in order to respond to this experience of pain or wounding at a higher vibration. So set that intention to be kind to yourself and to let go. What are you needing to let go of that has held you back from really stepping into living a life of compassion? Because with the sun being in Scorpio, also in the 8th house in Scorpio, this is about diving deep. And we can never dive deep into our profound personal creativity without without understanding the depths of these core wounds. So I do feel a lot of perceptiveness in the energy when it comes to sensitivity and the value that others have placed on you. So I think it really is highlighting where we need to take responsibility for our own pain, for our own triggers, and to really understand, you know, our core social values and our core views, and to correspond that with our deep inner understanding. So I think the focus really is going to be brought into this energy of wanting to express ourselves creativity. And we always have a choice to turn that pain into something beautiful. So when I was in the depths of the dark night of the soul, I painted acrylic paintings, and I turned that pain into art. So, you know, with Jupiter in Aquarius, and that is that humanitarian aspect, that big picture thinking, and Aquarius, Jupiter in Aquarius also in the 12th house in Aquarius, and my 12th house is Aquarius, and the 12th house is about where we meet our karma, where we bury things. And, you know, a big part of my core wound was my grandmother passing away in 2016. So, you know, with Jupiter in the 12th house, that is going to bring up all kinds of invisible source help behind the scenes. So, you know, part of the spiritual journey really is about working alone, working independently. And I do feel it's about stepping into willingness of helping others, stepping into service without expectations, without, you know, expecting something in return. Because with Jupiter in the 12th house, rewards will come. We do have a lot of divine protection in the energies, and you know, I do feel get ready to spring into action through subconscious triggers. I do feel with the Sun square Jupiter, this is going to create the idealistic energy to step into purpose, and the energy really is supporting these movements within the collective. So be willing to sacrifice whatever's not working. Let it go in order to restore that optimism. I think it's really going to highlight those people that you're with that really aren't in a higher level of commitment with you. So be prepared for that, because it really is about digging deep into these childhood wounds with there's a semi-square between Jupiter and Chiron. So that's going to show us where we have self-sabotaged ourselves in the past, and, you know, why things aren't working out and why these unhealed wounds are still in our system. So, you know, the deeper the ego wounds go, the deeper that childhood wound is. So, you know, a lot of these issues are stemming around our perceived self-worth, our ability to make things happen, and how others respond to us. So the key here, I feel, this week is to heal. To heal, we have to feel in order to clear these wounds, so we don't keep attracting this same toxic cycle in our lives over and over again. So we have to experience feelings of rejection, of feeling unsupported and unloved in order for us to go within. Because as within, so without. And what we hold within us will be mirror imaged in front of us, usually within a relationship. So, you know, we all have an abandonment wound. We all have an abandonment complex from childhood. And, you know, this always attracts a similar experience over and over again until we feel this wound and we clear it by actually healing it at the core. So, you know, we've been months and months now in a lot of deep purging and a lot of intense spiritual work. And I do feel that is about to ease up as we get through these eclipse season. I do feel it's feeling like a pressure cooker of energy, of deep shadow work, of deep introspection. And I think get ready for another week of drama and repeats when it comes to past wounding in order for you to finally move forward. So, you know, we are in this deep preparation stage of the twins meeting again in Capricorn in February next year. So, you know, Spirit is bringing up all of these triggers when it comes to childhood wounds in order for us to release separation energy, in order to release that false programming, to bring it to the surface, to recognize that it's a false belief pattern, and to finally clear it. So speaking of childhood wounds, my oldest daughter is home from school today. She had a huge purge last night, which in turn turns into a purge for me. When my children hurt, I definitely hurt. That's a trigger for me, because the trigger is, you know, none of us really have a father in our lives that has been there consistently, steadily, and loved us unconditionally. And my daughter has had to deal with, you know, a couple really deep father wounds between her birth father never being around since I was pregnant, her stepfather, you know, up and leaving when my youngest was 6 weeks old, the back and forth, the drama of that relationship. And when he finally did leave 2 years ago, he jumped right into the next codependent relationship instead of getting his shit together and getting a place and saying he wanted to be a dad, but yet he disappeared for 6-7 months before telling me he was living with another woman. And, you know, that's a trigger for me, for my daughter. Just that toxicity being brought up again. You know, I've not made the best choices in my life, but I'll tell you one thing, everything I do is for my children. You know, as many times as I've messed up, my love for my children is my strength that keeps me going. And It's really time to clear this karma. My ex accuses me all the time of blocking my daughter on his phone. Well, she receives his text. She has nothing to say to the man because of the pain in her core. So, we both cried together last night. She always says she doesn't need a dad, and then she threw art in my face again. And when she saw me go through separation with my twin, and I was at that rock bottom, crying on the bathroom floor, trembling, shaking, the trauma of that for months and months. That's also a core wound for my daughter. She had to basically mother me when I couldn't mother myself. And no 10-year-old should have to go through the things that my oldest has seen and gone through. So, it is about recognizing these energies, being brave enough to talk about it without shame attached. There is no shame in feeling these wounds. We are human. We are here to experience the full spectrum and range of all of our emotions. So, if we can really go into that wound, acknowledge it, and feed it love, that's when we can shift into this higher vibration, into this higher mindset. The wound never, ever truly goes away, but it's about what do we do with that pain to bring purpose and passion and healing into the world. So if you've been struggling lately, clear out that negative energy because there's something going on at a deeper level that really is needing to be brought to the surface. So, this whole fall energy is about purification and recalibration in order to prepare for that divine union, for that long-lasting, harmonious relationship of unity that we so deeply crave within our hearts. So, it is our inner wounded child that is in need of love, and we are all children at the core. So I do feel soul love is in focus this week. And, a lot of us have been doing this work for a very long time, at least for the last 6 months. I've been purging and integrating for a good 3 years now. And I think what we're being shown this week, whether this is your very first breakdown or, a spiral of purging when it comes to our life circumstances, we have to remove these blocks. We really have to remove these blocks, which means these karmic relationships, these karmic social circles, or any toxic living situations have to be broken apart and broken down and cleared. And if we don't consciously make that choice, get ready for some towers this week, because the universe wants you to love and to be loved. And if you're somewhere you don't belong and you know it and you feel it, be brave enough to make that choice to leave something toxic behind. I know it's hard, and we still grieve when we end something toxic, because it is about home. It is about, having love and hearth in the home. And that's what that Taurus energy is about. And I feel the energy this week is showing us where we're not in balance within our home life and what we need to learn in order to expand, to reach our goals and to reach our destination. So I think there's going to be this deep urge to learn, to dig more within our family lineage, within our ancestral lineage. And it is about the heart, listening to the heart, listening to the intuition. Taurus truly is the goddess of hearth and home. She holds within her this fire, this flame of ancient energies. And, Lilith is being brought up in this energy this week to show us our own shadow karmic feminine energies. And I do feel the shadow feminine karmic energy within the false contracts really is going to manifest negatively this week in order to bring those positive changes. We cannot have one without the other. So I do feel both of the counterparts are deeply longing for that home feeling. And I think get ready for that karmic feminine energy to try to sabotage these connections this week. I do feel a lot of divinely guided changes in the energy, and I think it's going to discourage us because when we're in the throes of conflict, it's really hard to see things from that positive light. But this really is in order to shift our consciousness. So although you might be having a hard time, this truly is to get you on path to your true destiny. Let me get some tea so I don't lose my voice, guys. Okay, with the Sun sextile Pluto on the 16th, 16's always been my favorite number. It's the Tower card, go figure. And my soul urge number is karmic debt 16. So, you know, a part of my soul urge this life is to teach you all how to break down these false belief patterns, to take down that tower, and to rebuild, you know, on that solid foundation. So with the sun in Scorpio in the 7th house, once again, the energy of the fall in Scorpio, a lot of scorpionic energy. And Scorpio is my natural yang, I guess you could say. So I do feel it's really going to highlight where you've been in connections that have made you lack initiative. What are you needing to release? Because we're not here to be codependent on others. We are here to have those interdependent relationships. We are here to step into service of helping others to climb up the spiritual ladder. So I think a lot of development for balance in the energy, and this really is gonna, you know, spark something inside of you, because we all have the ability to be these spiritual leaders. And with Pluto in Capricorn in the 10th house, this is really going to suggest, you know, restoring our strong will to achieve this inner success, to achieve, you know, our personal goals. And Pluto is all about death and rebirth. And I think major shifts in the career front this week, especially for those that are, you know, hearing that call to step into something more. So, you know, the sun sextile Pluto really is a very harmonious aspect. And I think it's going to restore a sense of decisiveness. So it's going to give the masculine the ability to make a decision. I do feel the karmic energy is going to have a tendency to try to manipulate once again at the subconscious level. But there's this regenerative energy coming through this week in order to restore the divine masculine psychic abilities and his extreme strong will to achieve what is right at any cost is kind of what I feel. So with Mars opposition Uranus on the 17th, you know, we got that Taurus Scorpio axis coming up, and the North Node is about to shift out of Gemini into Taurus. So, you know, with the North Node in Gemini, we've been mastering our duality for the last couple of years, really going into the depths of the light and the dark in order to find that 0 point, that balance in the middle. So with Mars in Scorpio at 2026 and in the 9th house in Scorpio, this suggests really getting grounded in philosophy, spiritual philosophy, religion, and to really adhere to the principles, you know, of the universe. And I feel get ready to correct past mistakes in the energies. And I feel there's going to be a lot of triggering impatient energy. So do calm your temper, I think, in that energy. You know, sometimes it's hard to learn new things and to gain new knowledge. But with Uranus in Taurus, in the 3rd house, also in Taurus, I think get ready for that instability to be created. And this is going to be reflected from your thinking. What we think is always reflected in our outer world. So I do feel communication is key. This really is going to affect a lot of relationships stemming around family, possibly with siblings or other relatives. So do be prepared for that. A lot of instability. Many of us are kind of stepping back from our blood family and calling in our true soul family at this time. So it's a lot of spontaneous energy in order to step into this progression, I feel. So there might be a tendency to unexpectedly cut some cords with people that you did not see leaving your life, and it is okay. So be willing to grieve that energy, because with Mars opposition Uranus, it is about stepping into our individuality, no matter what anybody else thinks of us. So, you know, I do feel religious spirituality is a highlight this week, and the need to get involved in group movements, you know, to embrace our esoteric knowledge. And I feel the energy can be very restless and unstable, but this is all about developing our spiritual skills and to get grounded in our own success. I feel like this completion energy coming through. So get ready for some mood swings. Scorpio can be a very dark, moody energy, and Taurus, well, you blow a Taurus's lid off, you better frickin' run, because when a Taurus blows, she blows good. So, and trust me, I know. So I think get ready for changes is the energy in order to step into that freedom that we have so deeply longed for. We can no longer keep up this self-sacrificing facade. It really is time to go towards those that are authentic, those that we feel, you know, we have that soul connection with, because On Thursday, with Mercury trine Neptune, this is gonna, give way to the illusion of fantasy. We're going to have to break down that fantasy illusion in those false contracts. It is about material aspects. We do have Mercury in Scorpio in the 10th house in Scorpio, and Neptune in Pisces in the 2nd house of Aquarius. So the 2nd house is like, learning by material transactions. So, I think a lot of these divine masculines are struggling deeply financially, and they don't want to admit that to others or themselves. So I think there's going to be like a lot of debts. It is feeling like rock bottom. Maybe some of these masculines are going to have to go bankrupt in order to, restore that balance. I think a lot of these masculines really have used some poor judgment in the past, have handled money recklessly. And I think there's a lot of dishonesty in those false contracts when it is stemming around financial difficulties. And I think that illusion is about to be shattered. And I feel when there's no more financial security in those karmic relationships, it's going to blow, because that's about the only thing that's been holding them together, is that false sense of financial security. So I do feel this is an important shift for the masculine in order for him to plan and prepare to execute his goals. It is about bringing his own ideas and opinions to the public, and it really is going to be a shift, pushing the masculine to join the feminine within this mission, is kind of what I feel. So, with Mercury trine Neptune, it is a harmonious aspect. I feel it's going to bring a lot of intuitive inspiration to the surface, and it is linked to speaking and communicating. So it is likely the masculine is going to reach out this week. I feel they're not really going to have anywhere left to turn to but to you, divine feminine. I do feel everything is being stripped, and they are going to be at that rock bottom energy. So do your best to go into forgiveness and to have that open heart, because I feel a lot of these masculines are in deep need of spiritual healing. So we have the full moon in Taurus. I'm excited about this. It's a full moon partial eclipse in Taurus at 27 degrees 14. That's a synchronized energy for my own journey and everything that I've gone through over the last couple of years. But prior to the full moon, earlier in the day, we have Venus trine Uranus. So this is going to bring up change in order to take that initiative to break free from these false foundations. It is going to trigger this deep desire to be emotionally independent. And I think, a lot of these masculines jumped in to these karmic relationships very unconsciously, just so they didn't have to be alone. It was a lack of better judgment. And I do feel, it's never long lasting when you jump into something without actually knowing that person. So I feel this is going to trigger that final cord cutting in the false relationships, because I do feel this aspect really is bringing that sex appeal and that attractiveness for the masculine to come towards the feminine. It's, it's a very creative, emotional energy. It's going to help us allow that deep connection that the twins share, and to bring that progression into the connection. The moon in Taurus energy in general is all about stability, home and hearth. And, I can say it, it's very hard to satisfy that need, that want. So, Taurus is a very practical, dependent energy. We do enjoy the finer material aspects of life, we do work very hard for that too. So I think with the moon in Taurus, it's going to highlight where we need to learn to accept change as a part of life. Taurus is a very fixed energy and doesn't like change. Thank God I have that fire triplicity, because I'm more about constant change than the Taurus. The Taurus is what kind of keeps that fire energy under wraps. So I think get ready for complications and changes when it comes to the karmic contracts, because when you're not surrounded by love, it really does bring up a lot of illness, disease, and I feel the masculine really has lacked his own self-respect and sought this in material things. And I feel there's an acceptance in this fall energy, and you know that is a big part of the journey, humility, losing it all, starting from ground zero, in order to find your inner peace and tranquility apart from any outside material aspects. So I feel with the fall, this is a beautiful energy of being able to perceive yourself as one with the divine, I feel. So it is about consolidating, expanding, analyzing, preparing, and trusting to take that leap of faith, because we do have the moon in Taurus in the 8th house of transformation, which is linked to the dragon's head and tail with the 2nd and 8th house. And my divine masculine does have that dragon's head and tail with Scorpio in the 2nd house and Taurus in the 8th house. And the 8th house is about transformation. And the 8th house is going to be in Taurus at 13 degrees 09. 13 is that Christ consciousness, and 9 is the closing of the cycle. So the masculine is deeply craving that security and feeling important again with the divine feminine. I do feel stepping into responsibility. I do feel the masculine is likely to take action to engage in this mission and this movement with the divine feminine with this shift, because this really is about the general good of all of humanity. So I do feel inspiration in the energies, because the moon is going to be opposition the sun, opposition Mercury, square Jupiter, trine Pluto, and the main aspect, the moon is going to be conjunct the north node. So this really is going to highlight the path shown by our true lunar node, and it is lunar node, sorry, nord, whatever. It truly is about like releasing that south node, stepping into the north node. You know, our south node is what we've always done, what we're comfortable with. That's where, you know, we stay in those low vibrations. Sometimes we shift into the north node, we get in a karmic relationship, and we go back into that toxic pattern. So you know, we have a huge group of individuals in about their mid-30s about to shift into this Taurus North Node. And we are going to be needed now more than ever as the next generation is awakening and ready to kind of find their purpose. So I do feel be ready to tap into your true purpose, your Akashic energy. It really is about the culmination of all of these energies, I feel, really is about fertilizing and growing those seeds and those solid foundations. So this really is going to be an extravagant time, especially with the square to Jupiter. It's definitely going to be increased emotions, without a doubt. So it's going to really get you out of that introverted energy and stepping into purpose. So get ready for major truths to be revealed. Major truths are going to be revealed with this full moon in order to get us back into a state of harmony. With the aspect with Pluto, it really is going to highlight where we need to improve our life. I think get ready for inflated feelings with those that are kind of stuck in their ego. And it is a need to kind of take some action, I feel. This is like the first eclipse of a series of eclipses occurring along this Taurus and Scorpio axis over the next couple of years. So it really is going to be an intense time, because the next 2 years are about initiating these changes, getting set in these changes. The universe is nudging and pushing us all to make these improvements, and this Taurus-Scorpio axis really is going to highlight and magnify our feelings of discontent. So I do feel this eclipse season is deeply going to affect the fixed signs, without a doubt. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So where do you have those placements? Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, North Node, South Node, Rising, any major aspects. Get ready to feel this shift. And if you have major mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, get ready to feel this energy magnified, because our true destiny is in focus with the shift this week with this lunar eclipse. So I highly suggest looking up your North Node, really understanding, you know, your overdeveloped qualities in your South Node and how to shift into your North Node, because Taurus is about manifesting, creating, and, you know, living our soul's purpose, living our path this lifetime. And I feel with this full moon eclipse, it is the emotional culmination of closing out this old chapter, of stepping into unity consciousness. So you are being asked to release these emotions, to release these patterns, these thoughts, in order to bring you to this higher place of evolution. I think with the North Node in Gemini, we've been looking at our thoughts and our beliefs for the last 2 years. We've been looking at what brings us joy, what brings us pain, and in mastering the duality of the masculine and feminine within. And Taurus is here to show us, you know, emotion of any kind really is healthy to be shown. When we repress these emotions, I think get ready for a freaking eruption this full moon eclipse, because you have to face this negativity. You cannot keep repressing. And I feel for those that have spent all of their time repressing, and, you know, going into the material aspects and nothing seems to materialize, I think get ready, because shit's about to blow is kind of the energy. And I think for those that have been doing the work and sowing those seeds and you know, and you feel like nothing's bloomed yet, get ready to receive your blessings. Taurus is the Empress. I know I've connected with several divine feminines whose life path is 3 lately. So get ready to birth that new life, divine feminine. We have applied ourselves. We really have been shifting our mindsets, our beliefs, and stepping into authentic energy. And I feel, you know, it's our time, divine feminine. And for those, you know, the masculines who have been spiritually bypassing, I feel the energy really is forcing them to look at themselves, to stop ignoring these deeper inner issues, these fears, these blocks, because dreams can truly come true. But in order for them to come through, we must pull down the veil. We must take the blinders off, and to realize what's not been working in our life, what keeps us on this same track of looping round and round in these same negative, repetitive patterns. So this full moon is huge potential for a full karmic reset if you can release and be open to the energy in and around you. You have to be willing to release disappointment, past hurt, or anything that has caused lack or unhappiness. But you also have to be willing to address it before you can release it. So are you willing to release it, I guess, is the question. Are you willing to start over with that clean slate? Because we always have free will on this journey. And, you know, sometimes the human mind keeps us in these low vibrations and these distortions and these dysfunctions. And, you know, we can love and light all we want, but if you're spiritually bypassing, you're never going to achieve those results that you deeply desire. When we bypass, we pretend there's not an issue there. And let's face it, the elephant is always in the room. You can move anywhere in the world and that elephant is always going to be there. You have to face the mirror in order to get it to leave your house, to leave your internal body. We have to shed light on the darkness in order to restore ourselves to that purity of light. So I think this is going to be a really rough wake-up call for those that have been staying stuck. This eclipse window is going to linger all throughout December, so it is a very intense energy of recalibration and shifts. So focus on releasing in order to allow space for these new energies to enter your life, because Spirit does not want us to take things at face value. Spirit wants us to see that higher perspective, to get uncomfortable in this energy in order to find our own inner truth. So I feel Divine's kind of bringing in a lot of towers to rearrange your path forward in order for you to see through the illusions, in order to see from that higher perspective. So allow Spirit to remove what's not love. Anything that's leaving your life is not in alignment with love. So take a step back, remove yourself from whatever destruction is happening, and don't drag yourself into autopilot negative behavior, because this is about releasing those behaviors. It is about finding a better way. It is about, you know, allowing the energy to push you into a state of ascension. So, you know, release anything that is not love in your life and work with the energies. You know, when we resist it, it gets worse. So work with it, release it. release it once and for all is kind of what I want to say. And, Taurus is, the home sign of Venus, the feminine energy. And this really is about manifesting true love. So divine feminine, don't give up. I know we spiral and hit that bottom energy so many times, and it really is about knowing that you're perfect. Any flaws you have is just a distorted perspective. You truly are perfect in God's eyes. So, don't lose hope. I do feel love is coming, and keep nurturing yourself, nurturing your ideas, your seeds, and trust that you are coming into alignment, because what we are seeking truly is seeking us, divine feminine. Whether the divine masculine bosses up or not, love is being manifested in our life. So stay in that energy. We do have on Saturday a square between Mercury and Jupiter. So this is about health. This is about, stepping into helping others, restoring our spiritual abilities, our drive to get the job done. So I think get ready to make huge, drastic changes when it comes to maybe your diet, your exercise, maybe getting grounded in, a spiritual practice every day, yoga. It really is about, building a better life. And with Jupiter in Aquarius, it's bringing up a lot of philosophical thoughts. It is bringing up that deep desire for that higher education. So it is extremist energy, though. I feel a lot of higher thought energy. I do feel it might create some difficulties when it comes to synchronizing and balancing the energies. But it is going to trigger movement, I feel, because we close off the week with a sextile between Mercury and Pluto. So it's once again related to, that material lesson. So it is going to bring up a lot of tension at home, especially if you're in a relationship where you have been dominated or controlled. And it is going to bring up a shift when it comes to stepping into magic, letting all of these negative energies go. And then we have the sun entering into Sag at 21:34. So, Sag is a very powerful energy. It really is a philosophical sign. It is about justice, deep spiritual processing and thinking. And, Sagittarius is a very optimistic energy. It's very impulsive as well. So I do think get ready to implode or explode or whatever when it comes to consequences of past behavior. I feel the karmic is going to be provoking the masculine in that energy, really wanting to hurt him. I feel hurt him emotionally, because I feel she is hurt, because the codependency is breaking apart. So I feel the masculine is really going to be looking for somebody he can trust to talk to in the energies. And I do feel breaking free from restrictions. I do feel the masculine just wishes he could come and talk to you, divine feminine. I feel, this unavoidable conversation needs to be addressed. And I feel the energy is going to exaggerate that. It is about, stepping into inspiration. I do feel that the divine masculine really is trying to defend his pride, even at the cost of any material losses. I do feel the masculine is going to be walking away empty-handed. He does not want to explain himself anymore to the karmic energy. He is going to have to face humiliation, I feel, and he doesn't want to humiliate himself any further. I feel he's getting ready to slam the door on the karmic with that shift, because it is about forgiveness, and it is about not compromising your integrities. It is about fighting for justice, for what is right. And I feel the masculine is preparing to restore the balance. With the sun in the 5th house when it enters Scorpio, that is our house of creativity, our house of self-expression. And the energy is very fertile. It is linked to children as well. So I feel the karmic is going to be very childish. She is acting very selfish in the energy, and the masculine just wants maturity in his life. He just wants to be surrounded by people that consider his emotions and stuff. And I feel if the masculine doesn't use this portal gateway effectively, he's likely going to pass on this connection. He's likely going to, let it slip him by. And I feel it really is decision time when it comes to this week. especially with the moon in Gemini when the sun enters Aquarius, and that is the yin and the yang, Gemini and Sag. So that is speaking of culmination, complete and total illumination, realization, and stepping into, willingness to work within mission, I feel. So it is going to manifest a lot of changes in the energy, and I feel security is going to be dependent on the heart this week. So I think it's going to be this self-fulfilling prophecy kind of energy. You get what you put out there. So depending on your vibration, that's how this moon is going to be affecting you. So if you are in those very low, heavy karmic vibrations, be prepared for that to be manifested in a very chaotic outer tower. And if you're kind of in that optimistic state, knowing that you're on track, knowing that you're embracing positivity as best as you can, I think get ready to receive. So we're releasing limiting habits. We're releasing all of these negative ancestral patterns this week. And Sagittarius is like embracing this change. It might mean moving homes, might mean changing careers, maybe moving to another country. But it's going to be a big, big shakeup, I feel. Changing your approach, changing your appearance, changing your entire group of friends if you're willing to follow your intuition. So are you willing to do these guided changes? The sun really is going to highlight transformation of self. So get ready for your inner state to be reflected in some outer changes this week in order for you to step into this new cycle, because inner alignment has to be achieved before true change can be grounded. So it really is a week of new beginnings, I feel, a state of unity, love, stepping into feeling that heaven on earth energy. And it really is a week of enlightenment. So get ready, because we need to flow through these processes. So I have no idea what I'm at for time. I'm very long-winded today. I knew it was going to be a long one. But let's pull a few cards to see what other messages need to come through. We will start with the Divine Masculine, see what the current energies are for the masculine, and maybe what's going to come up for the week ahead. I know the energy for myself was pretty triggering on the weekend. It was triggering to not have a voice. It was kind of like a forced vacation, I guess you could say. When Spirit wants you to take a rest, they'll do what it takes to kind of get you to take a step back. So don't fight the energies. Don't fight the energies. I do feel the masculine's not getting what he's receiving. He is learning a very heavy karmic lesson about reciprocity, I feel. Healthy exchange with others, healthy exchange with the divine feminine, because the masculine has not reciprocated, has not balanced these scales yet. So that's deeply in focus this week. Yeah, major challenges ahead for the divine masculine, major upheaval, major challenge, a lot of testing in the energy for the masculine. And this is about surrendering and releasing the ego. So I do feel the masculine is feeling very isolated, very alone. I have a candle. I don't want to burn my cards. So I feel the masculine really is trying to find his own inner peace right now. I feel the masculine's kind of being forced to look at himself, and the masculine is struggling in that energy because he doesn't want to face, all of these energies. And I feel quiet introspection is really needed for the masculine as he goes through this ego death. It is feeling like a very painful ego death, in order for him to recognize his purpose as a light being, as a powerful light being here to shed love and light. So there might be a lot of physical symptoms coming up in the energy. I'm not going to lie, the ascension symptoms have been pretty nasty the last couple weeks. So if you're feeling, the physical symptoms, that over mental stimulus, I think recognize what kind of effect the energies are having on you. Maybe journal on it, because I do think seeking in the energy is what wants to come through. So let's see what needs to come through for the divine feminine. Pivot point. Pivot. I always think of Friends. My mom and I used to watch Friends together. Pivot. So only a couple messages. Let's see if there's anything else. So there is going to be a pivot point, maybe a fork in the road. You are going to have to make a decision. I do feel it is there's going to be like many options presented to you, Divine Feminine. So you're really going to have to make an important decision, because there's a lot of new doorways and new opportunities opening up for you, especially when it's stemming around your abundance. So pivot point. So be ready to pivot at a moment's time, because you are stepping into your spiritual teaching role, and you're stepping into self-mastery, I feel, with your gifts. So major lessons being learned. I do feel the feminine really is embracing what a gift the journey was throughout all of the pain. And it really is about healing that deeply embedded trauma. So I think get ready for another layer of purging past trauma, Divine Feminine. Many of us have been abused and, you know, deeply hurt. And I feel it's kind of time for us to redefine our future by facing that wound and releasing it. So we're doing a lot of purging, I feel, in dream space. I also feel the divine masculines have been reaching out in dream space, because I've had my masculine come to me many times in dream space in the last week. I feel like trying to apologize almost, and so there's a message being conveyed to you in dream space. So pay attention and really nourish your mind and your body this week, and honor the sacredness of who you are at the core, because that's really going to help you get through these shifts. We'll see what some of the main archetype energies are for the masculine for the week ahead, what needs to come through for the masculine. Father. So there's that father wound, and that one's deep for me, and I know for a lot of Divine Feminine. So I feel there's a deep wound coming up for the masculine, for him not stepping up, and for the pain that this has caused the children. Many of us have children involved in these connections. So there's a father wound coming up for the masculine to address, I feel. You know, I do feel the masculine's feeling like a fool for, you know, finally facing the depth of the pain of his egoic actions, and the depth of the pain that has caused, you know, the love of his life, everybody that he's connected with. And I do feel a hefty karmic rebalancing when it comes to his abuse of authority. And I do feel this really is supporting the masculine stepping into being that positive guiding light within this tribal unit with the feminine. And, you know, I think the masculine foolishly, you know, used humor, gossiped about, made fun of the Divine Feminine in the beginning, rather than, you know, accepting this connection. He lived in denial of his emotional truth, and that is coming up this week to be addressed in order for him to fearlessly face these repressed emotions. So I think, you know, the masculine was a hypocrite, and what goes around comes around, and I feel he is now, you know, understanding the nature of what a healthy romance is. And, you know, he's so tired of that romantic seduction illusion with the karmic feminine always being this damsel in distress, or this damsel in distress. So, yeah, the masculine's getting ready for an explosive tower, I feel. This intoxication, this masking, this numbing, it really is destroying the masculine's life, and it is time to release that negativity. It's time to release those destructive patterns in order to prepare the masculine for a new life. So let's see what needs to come through for the feminine for the week ahead. That orphan child, and there's that core abandonment wound coming up for the feminine. That, you know, we're here to break that cycle for our children, and there's that wound. So get ready to go deep within those feelings of abandonment, because it really has created some blocks. So it's learning to let go, knowing that, you know, I posted a meme about that the other day. The one thing I'm learning right now is that I really don't need anybody, and I can do this all by myself. So it's about conquering any survival fears, any abandonment wounds, and stepping into the light, stepping into being that seeker, committing to the spiritual path, committing to wisdom and truth no matter what, and stepping into, you know, devotion for the feminine, selfless devotion, dedication to your spiritual journey, I feel. So release any negative judgments, Divine Feminine, of the physical world, of the past energies, because I do feel there is potential for a reconciliation in the energies this week. Okay, let's dig in with some tarot, because I'm sure I am at like a lot of minutes. So we'll start with some tarot and see what needs to come through on the masculine side first for the week ahead. What energies are surrounding the masculine for the week ahead? The cards are kind of like very quiet, I find. So, oh my God. So major death, transformation. And with the Three of Wands, it's like, this has been a long time coming. It's time. The masculine has been in this Four of Cups energy, repressed, depressed. You know, I think, yeah, blocks are about to be removed. I do feel the masculines are experiencing a job loss. I do feel they are, without a doubt, experiencing major losses as these blocks are removed. They've been in this Four of Cups for far too long, prolonged grieving, and I do feel, you know, the masculine really is losing a lot in the energies this week in order for this transformation to take place, the complete shedding of the old to bring in the new. And when we step into the spiritual journey, our old life does have to completely die away. So major deaths, and it is this energy of the masculine having to, you know, ask for that salvation, that redemption, facing, you know, judgment with the archangels, as the feminine did in the beginning. So major heart pain, and it's through the pain that we find the light and the love. So I've been feeling a lot of heaviness on the heart as well. So we'll see what needs to come through for the divine feminine for the week ahead. It is going to be a very intense week. We have the King of Pentacles for the divine feminine, the Ten of Wands, the World reversed, and the Six of Pentacles. So yeah, that is that releasing, and as we release, it kind of triggers this burden on the masculine side to be released, releasing the burden of the masculine choosing materialism over the feminine, which in turn is bringing something back around, bringing something back from the dead, the near dead. Maybe the masculine is experiencing a near-death experience. A lot of these masculines do experience a heart attack when that awakening happens. So the scales are about to be balanced. You've not been receiving reciprocity, and the masculine is about to come out of that hermit mode, to come out of that hiding, that Virgo energy for this union. But it is about you doing that spiral dance with yourself first to come into union of self, because really this is about healing your heart, divine feminine. So the masculine is about to return with a new solid committed offer, something tangible, to work together within the spiritual community with you, divine feminine. So this is feeling beautiful, and the scales are being balanced. So let's see where the masculine is at in the heart space. Renewal flipped out right away. So there is a renewal, and with all deaths come renewal. All endings come new beginnings. So self-worth, major lesson in self-worth, and I feel the masculine is ascending on his rightful throne, really tapping into his fated destiny, his wisdom, and complete acceptance of this connection. Where is the divine feminine in the heart space for the week ahead? Soulmate. You know, it doesn't matter how many times we repress and deny as well. You know, this is our soulmate. There's no denying it. So I do feel a little bit of impatience needing to be worked through, divine feminine, but we are recovering this connection, and we are stepping into expansion. As we kind of become impartial, it allows us to create the manifestation of these connections. You will persevere, divine feminine. Okay, let's see what else needs to come through for the twins with my Twin Flame Oracle deck. Past life karma is definitely being cleared in the energy. There's a lot of overwhelming fear surrounding the masculine. I feel it kind of all flipped out on his side. So past life karma, definitely major challenges relating to these old wounds that we have shared in many past lives together. So there is a need to take a step back. I feel the masculine needs to replenish his reserves in order to release that overwhelming fear about coming forward and coming together and opening up to this connection. I think he deeply fears rejection is kind of what I feel. So if you've been getting waves of like heart palpitations and anxiety, That's your masculine trying to come forward, and you're feeling his fear. So trust divine feminine, listen to yourself, listen to your soul's guidance, and create that space. Do you have room for what you desire in your life? Do you have room for the masculine to arrive? So you need to decide very soon, because new movement is coming, and we are shifting out of these difficulties. So go into that father-mother wound, go into those unresolved issues and patterns surrounding your parents, and allow that to surface in order to be cleared. Let's just get a couple last messages and see what the masculine would like to say to the divine feminine, especially for those in no communication. What does the divine masculine wish to say to the divine feminine? I still love you on the bottom of the deck. So, you know, this love is eternal. He can still feel you. And I do believe you've been going to him in dream space. This is that duality. He fears maybe we're too different. Maybe we're not the same. This journey does change you. But I do feel being apart has been life-changing for the masculine. And, you know, I do feel your words still linger in the masculine's mind, which is part of the guilt that he's trying to push through. And his heart is telling him to just do it. So just hold that faith, stay in that high vibration, and get ready for the unexpected this week. And that's what I have for the twins for the week ahead. I'm sorry about not getting anything posted on YouTube this week, but I am definitely going to get a daily message posted, and perhaps even do an all signs full moon zodiac reading. So we will see what my voice will allow for the week ahead. But I thank you all for joining. I hope you all have a beautiful week ahead, and I will see you all again next time.